Milligan. And speaking of information, our next speaker will be really implemented in Quill Access from an information perspective. So I have the pleasure to request Ms. Barbara Perschel to do her presentation. She's the CEO of SpeechCode Austria.
Yes, good afternoon. Well, actually, my presentation should have the title "And Now to Something Completely Different," because I'm going to talk about the gap between analog and digital information. As you know, the CRPD includes the access to information on everything. Product, services, and facilities, because we live in an information society. And the European Accessibility Act, therefore, is suggesting that information is available by more than one sensory channel. However, as we also all know, the European Accessibility Act currently is applicable only to ICT products, websites, communication tools. So the question is, once that is actually implemented, will all information be accessible? And the answer, unfortunately, is no. At the moment, we are at 4 to 6%, and that is increasing, but still it is a very low percentage. Why is that? Because a vast majority of information is still provided in an analog format only. You see here in the pictures whether it's products or tourist information, contract signage, etc. And the question really is, how do we get that, how do we marry that with the digital world? As you see, this is a list, and the list of analog information actually could be endless, and that information is available only for people who are able to read it. And in some cases, we get information, especially on product, where we have the legal requirement that the information is there, but we seem not to have the legal requirement that people can actually read it, right? Because I've brought these in originals, and Roisin can give it a try if she can find out what it is and what it contains, bad contrasts, and you see on top of the picture that is the compared size, font size, it's 4, font size 4, so have fun with this one. In other words, that is not something that is a matter of accessibility for blind and visually impaired people only. They are just the tip of the iceberg. We have people who are aging. In a few years, the quarter of the European population will be over 65. We have functional illiterates with problems comprehending what they actually are reading. We have people with language deficits. So at the end of the day, it's probably just half of the population that can understand product information in particular. And this data I just collected from the Eurostat statistics and from the various ones, and then put them together. And usually when you tell people half of the people have problems reading information, nobody wants to believe it. But it's truly the case, as you can see here. So obviously for all these people, whether they are elderly, have difficulties reading, or they just don't like reading like many young people do, there is a benefit in offering the information in visual and in audible formats. And then the goal is that this left-hand column eventually also gets the add-on of audible information. And when we consider why these things happened, it's really that print was the only way to provide information that is compatible with the requirements. In the sense, what is the big advantage of print? That the content cannot be changed once it's printed. It's available without the need of any connectivity, and it's free of charge for people to access the information. So how do we do that digitally? And this is what was our thoughts when we were developing our product SpeechCode. It needed to be a two-sensory channel information medium that still contains the advantages of print in terms of accessing it and in terms of not having dynamic content. Because obviously a contract that one party can change after you have signed it electronically would be a bit of a problem. So what SpeechCode is, it's actually, as the name says, a talking code. There is, data codes are nothing new, but what is unique with SpeechCode is that it can contain the entire information in the code itself. So when you print the code on a document, you have the entire document in the code, so the code content is as unchangeable as the printed version, and you don't need any connectivity. You need a free app, yes, but once downloaded, you can use it offline, so there's also no issue with data privacy. But obviously, we want to make an impact, and we want to solve this for everybody, so it needs to go it must be feasible for mass production. That was the second thing in terms of size, and especially in terms of costs. And since you can print that code with your package or your document, you actually have no extra costs, except a small license fee to us, because we charge those people who want to sell their products and not the people who want to read the content. It's not the consumer who must pay for accessibility, it's the provider, obviously, and the people who want to benefit from it. Because I believe very much that making information comfortably accessible to everybody is a good business opportunity, apart from rules and regulations, apart from social responsibility. There is an opportunity to make life easier for customers. It's about usability, it's about customer centricity, it's about added revenue through additional consumer groups. And therefore, my wish is that everybody who is in accessibility tries to go out to conferences of other sectors and give people there a presentation on what chances and challenges can be found in accessibility. And that was it. And then eventually my dream is that we will have two-channel information on everything and everywhere as a standard, and then we can just easily tick off this bullet point in the UN Convention and make life easier for everybody in terms of accessing information. Thank you.
Thank you, Barbara, for this enlightening and very passionate conversation on I know something that you're very passionate about. You mentioned challenges. I don't know if we have any questions, or I know we're pressed for time as well, but if there's one question for Barbara, who would be happy to take? No? Okay, just one thing from me then is the challenge for the industry to adopt this. What would be the issue here?
The issue here is that they don't have accessibility really in their focus. That is one. And the second is that especially fast-moving consumer good manufacturers are known to be very, very slow in terms of innovation, in terms of changing things and adopting things. But we are making progress, so I hope one day I will be able to present to you products which already are using this.